What's up, everybody? UFC Fight Night Paris, Moicano versus Saint Denis goes down this weekend. I'm hyped for this card, man. I'm hyped for this card because not only are we out of the damn Apex and is it going to be in front of a crowd, which I know I'm not going to be there in Paris live, but watching it through the TV whenever we have a crowd, the energy is different. The fights just tend to be better. And in France, the crowd, the energy, spectacular. Not only that, this is a very, very good card from top to bottom. We got some prospects. We got some underdogs that might be getting the job done. I'm going to go through every single fight on this card, starting with the early prelims, working our way up to the main event. I will put the time codes down below. But man, some great matchups, prospects, big fights on the line, especially the co-main event and main event. Let's hop right into this thing, starting with our very first fight of the evening between Oki and Chris Duncan. I'm going Oki to get this one done. Look, I kind of went back and forth on this matchup. I know a lot of people are buying into the Oki hype. They're excited for this guy. He's explosive. He's dangerous on the feet. He's fast. He's got good power. And he is ferocious. And I am picking him, but I'm still a little nervous, man. I can't lie. I'm a little nervous with this pick because, look, Chris Duncan's coming off an L to Emmanuel Torres. And to lose to Torres, it's like, okay. You know, and Duncan, he's a guy that he was on a nice streak before that, and he's a well-rounded fighter. And what we see is these prospects like Oki, they burst onto the scene, and they fight a guy that is a big step on the competition. I know Chris Duncan's not a world beater, but he is a well-rounded fighter. He's he's a gritty style of fighter. He will do whatever it takes to try to get the job done. And I think that he has a more well-rounded skill set than Oki, which really scares me because if Oki doesn't finish Duncan early on in this fight, I think he's going to be in a little bit of trouble because whenever we see these prospects get tested for the very first time, they get drug into deep waters. The gas tank it always tends to be the gas tank, man. That thing runs on E, and it's just like, I don't know. But I'm nervous, but I think that what gives me confidence here in picking Oki, Chris Duncan is there to be hit. His defense is not very good. He has pretty good offense. He can mix in the takedowns, which I think he's going to try to make this a dirty, grimy type of fight. But still, the power, the precision, and the hype I'm buying into here with Oki, I think he's a good fighter. I think he gets this one done. Moving on, we have Nora Corneille and Jacqueline Calvacanti. I'm going to go Jacqueline Calvacanti. I've been back and forth on this matchup for a while here. And look, the hesitation for me has been Jacqueline Calvacanti. She frustrated me in the Nunes fight because I picked her to win. I picked Jacqueline Calvacanti to win. You're like, Jake, why are you upset? Well, because she should have won that fight a lot more convincingly than what she did. I mean, people are talking about they thought Nunes won the fight. And look, I get it. She's got that peekaboo style. She's moving forward. She's throwing those big, looping haymakers. And it looks great to the judge's eye. And she was landing some good shots. And one of the issues I have with Calvacanti, she's very long and rangy. She utilizes her long-range tools well. But the problem is she wasn't fighting very well at range against Nunes. I don't know if it's something Nunes was doing to Calvacanti. It was in the apex, so the octagon's a little smaller. Maybe that had something to do with it. But she was not maintaining range well. And the thing that scares me here, Nora's a beast, man. She's a finisher, she's aggressive, and she's going to come at Jacqueline with the same kind of style that we saw Nunes try to implement her against Calvacanti in her most recent outing. And also, Jacqueline's taking this fight on short notice, but that doesn't bother me too much because I know Calvacanti's someone that's always in the gym training, but everyone's talking about how Calvacanti is just a decision machine. She doesn't finish any fights. Her past couple fights have been decisions, but she can finish people. She's got those good long-rangey weapons. I think if she stays a little bit busier with the offense, stays tight with the defense, I think she can hurt Norma and make her pay each time she tries to enter. Norma's going to be fighting in front of a fan base that's rooting for her. I think she's going to be a little aggressive. She may take some chances to where maybe she can catch Jacqueline, but I think Jacqueline is able to outpoint her and win this thing probably by decision, but I'm going Calvacanti. Moving on, we have Daniel Barez and Victor Altamirano. I think that this is going to be a pretty boring fight, right? Disclaimer there. I think that this is not going to be very entertaining. I'm going Victor Altamirano to get this done. Look, he's lost 2 in a row, which does concern me a little bit coming into this fight. Daniel Barez seems to be heading in the right direction. But I think that Victor, one, we know he's scrappy. We know he's durable. We know he's not going to give up on himself. Even when he looks tired, he still finds a way to, bite down and keep pushing forward. And I think in this fight with Barez, what really concerns me for Daniel, he accepts being on his back a little bit too much. And I understand he likes to resort to, some of the submissions, the jiu-jitsu. The problem is when you're laying on the ground and you got somebody on top of you, they're winning the minutes. They're winning on control time. Altamirano, he's pretty active when he utilizes the wrestling, and I think that's going to be the difference in this matchup, to be honest with you, is that Victor's going to mix things together. He's not just going to let Daniel kind of, poke around at him on the feet. I don't think that, maybe he throws up a submission, is able to catch up, but I think Victor Altamirano wins a boring decision to where he just wins on control time and minor damage. That's how I see this fight playing out. I'm not super excited about it, but I got to make a pick. Moving on. We have Eileen OnlyFans Perez and Daria Zheleznyakova. I cannot pronounce that. Maybe I hope that was close there. These are two talented fighters in women's MMA. And look, Eileen Perez, she gets a lot of slack, right? People kind of make fun of her. The OnlyFans, the twerking. She's twerking with Paulo Costa. I think Perez wins this fight. Look, I know that people get caught up in the OnlyFans and all the fun stuff, but look, she's a talented fighter. She's a talented fighter, and if I had to really express what my concern would be in this fight is if this fight goes into those, the late second round and then into the third round, because she does tend to fatigue, right? She's very explosive. She utilizes a lot of grappling. And when you start to fatigue, it kind of makes you a sitting duck. And Dara, she's a pretty well-rounded fighter. She's got some decent striking. And I think if the longer this fight plays out, I think it could be a little bit of an issue for Perez. So it's going to be on Eileen to go out there, win those early minutes, win those early rounds, secure those first probably 2 rounds at least, because I think in the third, if she's not able to get Dara out of there, which you don't see happening, I can see Dara, if she's able to keep this fight on the feet, if she's able to win some of these scrambles, I can see her having a lot of success as this fight plays out, because Perez, she just keeps on coming, man. She keeps on churning. She's got, a relentless style, but again, she does tend to fatigue. I still think that Perez is able to get this one done. Moving on, we have Taylor Lapilus and Vince Morales. I think this is one of the layups on the card, man. I think that this is I think Taylor Lapilus should absolutely dominate Vince Morales. And it's no disrespect to Vince. This is one of those matchups that when, it's not always, sometimes I overreact a little bit when the UFC, goes to a certain country, like how they're going to France, and it's like, oh, they put a France card or a fighter from France on there, and they just gave him a matchup like they want him to win. Well, it doesn't always work like that. But this is one of those matchups where I look at it and I'm like, this is just strategic matchmaking by the UFC. Taylor Lapilus has a very fun style to watch. He's a good striker. He's got good footwork, good timing, good speed. He's got good pop in his hands. And I think that his movement and just the lateral step-offs that he utilizes to try to, kind of slide off and land that right hand and left hand, he's got good movement, man. He's got really good eyes. And anytime a striker has really good eyes, it makes him that much more dangerous because they slide just out of range and they can make you pay. They don't slide all the way out. And that's what you see with Taylor Lapilus. And Vince Morales, he's a guy that he's been bouncing around, and he's finally kind of making his way back in here in the UFC. And I just see him being kind of I don't know, like a layup is, I guess, what I said there for Taylor Lapilus to go out there, look good, get a great, spectacular performance in France. They're going to continue to build this guy. Taylor Lapilus, not only is he very skilled, but, I don't want to take anything away from him, act like he's fighting a scrub here because Vince Morales is still a good fighter, but this is definitely a fight that Taylor Lapilus should win. That's why I'm picking him to get this done. Moving on. We have Ludovit Klein and Roosevelt Roberts. This is my lock of the card, right? I know a lot of you ask me in my lives, my pre-fight lives, who's your lock of the card? Well, now you don't got to ask me, man. This is my lock of the card. Ludovit Klein, Roosevelt Roberts. I think Ludovit Klein wins this by brutal KO, and I think that he gets a $50K performance bonus with a victory here because, look, Roosevelt Roberts is a fun fighter. I think that, we saw him on The Ultimate Fighter. He's got an interesting story. He's a guy that's, he's a good fighter. He seems like a great dude. My issue is I got to pick a fight here. I got to pick with my brain, not my heart. And Ludovit Klein is a up-and-coming contender in this division. He has outstanding striking. He's a well-rounded fighter. He's just improving overall as a mixed martial artist, but on the feet is where he shines. He's got good power. He's just very well-rounded. He mixes everything together in terms of the striking. He utilizes the full mixed martial arts skill set, and that is a dangerous guy to go up against. A dude that's hungry, a guy that's confident, and I think Roosevelt here, This is tough for him, man, because he's a striker. That's how he gets his, gets the job done. And I know he's got some range to him. I know he's got some decent speed, but I think Ludovit Klein's going to march him down. Maybe Roosevelt has some moments early on, but it's only going to be a matter of time until Klein gets his timing down and lands some nasty shots that can put him out. I think Ludovit Klein wins this fight by finish. Moving on, we have Umar Sy and Da-Woon Jung. I'm going Sy in this matchup. I think that he's going to win this fight. But again, guys, look. This is one of those fights that it scares me, man. It scares me, and I feel like sometimes I'm like, don't overthink it, Jake. Don't always just, pick the veteran because it's a young guy on the scene that's a prospect on the rise and it seems a little bit soon. But I get excited for these prospects, man, and I want to see Sy get the job done. And it does scare me a little bit because, look, this is, even though Da-Woon Jung is not a world beater, he still has power. He's a very experienced fighter, and as good as Sy is, sometimes we see, you get drug into, the deep waters. You get tested a little bit. You get clipped with a shot and you don't react the way we think you may and you get put out of there, or, you lose a fight that maybe you should win. The stars are aligning for Sy to get the job done. He's 10-0. He looks good. He's got good grappling. I think he's decent on the feet. And again, Da-Woon Jung, he's got good power, but he's kind of seems like he's a little bit on the decline here. I think Sy goes out there, wins in all aspects of mixed martial arts. I think he does well on the feet. I think he's going to resort to the grappling to win the minutes and make sure he, if it goes to a decision, he makes it very clear to the judges that he is dominating the fight. I think that he beats Da-Woon Jung on this card. Okay, moving on. We have Ayun Cutelaba and Ivan Erslan. I'm going Ivan Erslan in this fight, and I'm going by KO. It's got to, in my opinion, whoever you're picking in this fight, it's got to be a KO because of these two individuals. I mean, Ayun Cutelaba, he's won one fight out of his last five, right? So he's 1-4 in his last five. It's hard for me to trust him right now, right? I know that he has the veteran UFC experience at this point. He's 30 years of age. He's a scary fighter, right? He's kind of got like this intimidating mantra at the weigh-ins, but it's kind of lost a little bit of its steam, right? Because now he keeps getting KO'd. And I think that Ivan Erslan is 32 years old. He's got a big opportunity here in the UFC. He's Croatian. I mean, these Croatians, man, they can hit. I mean, Mirko Krokop, Stipe Miocic, these guys got some serious power. Ivan has a very similar style to Ayun Cutelaba. He has no problem with it being me or you, dog. Like, he has no problem either getting KO'd or KOing his opponent. So I think Ivan goes into the fire here against Ayun Cutelaba. I think he's able to get him out of there, but I do think that Cutelaba is going to rely on the grappling here. I think he's coming for a win. He needs a win because at this point he's kind of looking like maybe he may fall out of the UFC with a loss here. This is a big, big fight for Ayun Cutelaba. His back is to the wall. I think he looks to grapple. But at the end of the day, man, he's taken a lot of damage. He's been KO'd a lot. And I think that Ivan's able to touch that chin and get him out of there. I got Ivan getting that thing done. Moving on. We have Firas Ziam and Matt Frevola, the steamroller. I'm going with the steamroller, Matt Frevola, man. I think he gets back on track with a big victory here over Firas Ziam in France. Look, I think Firas Ziam, I know a lot, the odds or the predictions as I was looking on Topology, a lot of people are so convinced that Matt Frevola is going to win this fight. And look, I see what people are seeing. Firas Ziam, he struggles with, with the grappling, and he needs a clean, technical, back and forth type of fight, right? He's a long, rangey guy. He's got that, I know he fought Jai Herbert, and he's got that Jai Herbert style where he likes to pick his shots. He likes to be really patient. And Matt Frevola is not going to let you do that. And I know that Matt Frevola, he's been caught by a straight shot down the middle before. We saw it against Terrence McKinney, and I think, didn't Terrence McKinney submit Ziam, so he's got victories over both of these dudes? It's weird. But look, Matt Frevola, outside of getting clipped by a shot early on, I think he wins this fight. Firas Ziam, he's a decision machine, right? I know he's fun on the feet. He's fun to watch. He's technical. But I think Matt Frevola is the more well-rounded fighter here. And I think that he's got a little bit more power. He has the ability to finish people. He has the grappling. And he's got that grittiness to him. And I think Matt Frevola is starving for a win, right? I know he came out there. He got, knocked out by Benoit Saint Denis. But look, that's Saint Denis, man. That's a highly touted prospect. I don't think Firas Ziam is anywhere as good as Benoit Saint Denis. And I think Frevola gets back on track here. He's taken some time away. I think he's sharpened up some things. I think the steamroller gets back on track with a big win over Firas Ziam. Moving on, we have Morgan Charriere and Gabriel Miranda. I got Morgan getting this thing done. I think he's an outstanding fighter. I like the leg kicks. I like the timing. I like the stand switching. I think Morgan does a tremendous job. I was looking at some training footage recently, the way he was moving in and out of stances, landing those leg kicks. I mean, they are fast. I think Gabriel Miranda is a good fighter, but I just think Morgan is a little bit better. And I think that the overall striking of Morgan is going to be the difference in this matchup. I don't know if he's able to get a finish. I can see this going to a decision here, but I think that his speed and his timing is going to be a little bit much for Gabriel Miranda. I think Gabriel's just going to be a step behind, for as long as this fight goes. I got Morgan getting this one done. Moving on. Ooh, this is a good one, man. We got Kevin Jousett and Bryan Battle. I'm going Bryan Battle here. And I know a lot of people are high on Bryan Battle. I'm one of those people as well. I've liked this guy ever since he came on to The Ultimate Fighter. Thank God. I don't think he goes by Pooh Bear anymore. Then you go by The Butcher. That's a more suiting nickname here. The last time out with Bryan Battle, there was the controversy over what looked like Angeloso was looking for a way out. Bryan Battle was absolutely dominating that fight. And the thing that we've seen with Bryan Battle ever since he got rid of that long hair, man, this dude is a savage. He's an absolute savage. He's got good power. He's got good speed. And he is continuing to improve as a mixed martial artist. His skill set just seems to get a little bit sharper in all areas. His striking, his grappling. And Kevin Jousett, he's a good fighter. And I'm picking Bryan Battle to win this fight. But what makes me a little nervous here is Kevin Jousett, he's a little bit of a different guy coming out of City Kickboxing. Because with those dudes at City Kickboxing, we know they have good striking. They're very technical. They always have a good jab, good footwork, good feints. They got good front kicks up the middle. But I think Kevin is a little bit different than a lot of those guys out of CKB, man. I think that he has decent striking, but with him, it's the offensive grappling that tends to be his best asset that we've kind of seen in a way, right? I mean, we saw it against Kiefer Crosby, and I know Kiefer, people look at him maybe as not as a super highly caliber guy in the UFC, but a lot of those guys at CKB, they're strikers and defensive grapplers. They don't use a ton of offense when it comes to the grappling, where Jousett, polar opposite. Decent striker, utilizes a lot of offensive grappling, but I think Bryan Battle is just a little bit better everywhere. I think that maybe Jousett has a little bit more of a grappling advantage, but I think on the feet, Bryan Battle is just firing on all cylinders right now. I don't think that this is anything that Kevin Jousett is lacking. I just think this has to do with what Battle is bringing to the table. I think Bryan Battle's a stud, and I think that he's going to get a big win against Kevin Jousett at UFC Paris. Moving on. William Gomis and Joanderson Brito. I think this is going to be a fun fight, man. I think we absolutely see a finish in this fight, and I think it's going to be Brito getting the job done. Look, Joanderson Brito training down at Shoot to Box. What we know about these guys down there, man, at Shoot to Box, they're aggressive. They move forward. They got good tie. They have really good submissions. So if you go to the ground with them, you're in trouble at all times. On the feet, they're aggressive. They're never going to back down. And I think William Gomis, he kind of likes to play the sniper game, right? He likes to sit back, kind of pick his shots. He's got good power. And I do see a scenario in which Brito gets maybe a little overly aggressive and Gomis can catch him with a shot. But other than that, man, I just think Brito is a better overall fighter. And it's like, damn, can we get Brito a ranked dude, man? Like, this dude is kind of running through everyone. I think if he can get a KO here over Gomis, which I don't think this fight goes to a decision. I don't think we see the judges' scorecard here. I think Brito is able to get a finish here. Maybe he's able to hurt Gomis on the feet and then get a submission. But I think the forward pressure of Brito, taking away the space that Gomis likes to operate at, is going to be the difference in this fight. I think Joanderson Brito gets the job done. Moving on. Oh boy, co-main event of the evening. This is a huge fight in the middleweight division between Nassourdine Imavov and Brendan Allen. This is a huge fight. It's got a lot at stake on it. Brendan Allen's been on an absolute tear in the division. A little bit of a fraudulent run, let's be honest. I know we've been talking about that here on my channel. Nassourdine Imavov, he's young, he's on the rise. He seems like he's that dude. I'm going Nassourdine Imavov. I think he's able to get this thing done. Look, this fight, there was some talks about this being a five-round co-main event a while ago. It is for sure a 3-round co-main event, which just makes me feel that much more comfortable in this matchup. And look, Nassourdine Imavov, he's dangerous on the feet. He's fast, he's nimble, and he's starting to find a little bit of that confidence on the feet. One of my big critiques with Nassourdine, he just didn't have the killer instinct in the striking, right? He's very technical, kind of fights like Sealgan. He's very bouncy and floating in and out, and he's got good timing. That pull, too, that step back right hand that he's able to land, man, is absolutely nasty. And we saw what he was able to do to Cannonier. I know Jared was having some moments there, holding him up against the fence, which is something hopefully Imavov has improved on, because if Brendan Allen is able to do that and able to take your back, it's going to be a problem. But I think Imavov is just that good. I think that he has good grappling. I think he's faster on the feet. I think he's a better striker. But it does scare me a little bit, because I think that Brendan Allen is being dismissed a little bit here. And I do understand the fraudulent run, right? His last outing against Chris Curtis, it was very close, right? I could have seen how it went either way. I know a lot of people thought Curtis won. But Brendan Allen, this win streak, it's not like the top echelon of the division. It's not the huge names inside of this absolutely stacked middleweight division right now. And it's also not against some of the dark horses in the middleweight division. So I understand why people say a fraudulent run. However, Allen has really improved, man. You got to give him his credit. He has gotten so much better with the striking. It seems quite a bit cleaner, to me at least, on the feet. He just seems a little bit sharper. And where Brendan Allen really shines is when he's able to get your back, man. He has some of the best, if not one of the best rear naked chokes and back attacks in all of MMA right now. And if he's able to get to Imavov's back, not only would he win on some control time and be able to control Nassourdine and wear on him a little bit, but put him in some real danger with a possible submission. But that's, to me, what Brendan Allen is banking on, is somehow getting to Imavov's back. And Nassourdine has good grappling. He's fast. He's athletic. I think Nassourdine Imavov, it's 3 rounds. I feel comfortable with him being able to pick his shots, float around on the outside, utilize his speed. I think he's going to be quite a bit faster than Brendan Allen. I got Imavov getting this one done. Moving on. Our co-main event of the evening between Renato Moicano and Benoit Saint Denis. When this fight was first announced, I got the poster up here. You got Renato Moicano. He's fun. He's entertaining on the microphone. He's an absolute trip. And he's kind of had this nice resurrection and resurgence in his career here. And it's always fun whenever we see a fighter do that. But I got to make a pick here. Not with my heart, with my brain. And I believe Benoit Saint Denis is going to win this fight. Now, I want to say this. I'm one of those guys, I was one of those guys out there that said, look, Dustin Poirier is going to KO Saint Denis. And the reason for that being was, look, Saint Denis he has massive holes in his boxing defense. And when you're going up against a guy like Poirier who has decent grappling, has outstanding boxing, that's going to be a problem if you can't take him down. And if Poirier's on the feet with Saint Denis, he was going to be able to take advantage of the boxing deficiencies. But when you look at that fight, there was a little bit of the staph infection going on with Saint Denis. And there's a lot that goes into that, man, because if you do really have staph and you take the antibiotics, it crushes your gas tank. And we've just never seen Saint Denis look great to start the fight, and he just absolutely had a huge, decline in terms of the energy. I'm not taking anything away from Poirier. Hell, I picked Poirier to win the fight, and I was happy he won. But again, Saint Denis is a savage, man. This dude is an absolute savage. He has really good grappling. He's got good power on the feet. He's relentless. I mean, this dude is a different dude, man. Being a special forces guy like he is, there's no quitting this man. And so you're in for an absolute battle every time you fight Benoit Saint Denis. And what this comes down to for me is, what's Renato Moicano's way to win the fight? He doesn't have power on the feet, right? He was getting absolutely tuned up by Jalen Turner, to where Jalen Turner, he should have won the fight. He walked away and tried to get a walk-off KO and get a $50K bonus or $300K bonus or whatever. And he ended up allowing Moicano back into the fight to win. So look, unless Moicano is able to pull off a submission here, I think he struggles. Benoit Saint Denis, I think, is physically stronger. I think that when it comes to the wrestling, I think Saint Denis probably has him there. Now, when it comes to the submissions, I would probably give that to Renato Moicano, right? Moicano's got really good jiu-jitsu, but the way Saint Denis blends the MMA grappling together, I think is a little bit more threatening than Moicano. He's got good ground and pound. He's got good top control. He's got good power. And on the feet, the power of Saint Denis is going to be the difference, because Moicano, he's not bad on the feet. He's pretty technical, and I think that he's improved a lot, but he doesn't have the sting on his shots to earn the respect. And we've seen him in there. I know it was short notice back then, but a guy like RDA has a kind of a similar style to Saint Denis, and you saw what RDA was able to do to Moicano. I know that Moicano took it on short notice, but that's a similar kind of style that I see here, where Saint Denis can level change, he can strike with you, he can mix it up. I don't know how much we see BSD try to resort to the grappling considering the submission threat of Moicano, but I can see Moicano looking to come out and grapple and see if he can wear on the gas tank of Saint Denis, because was it just the staph infection that caused him to gas? I think it was, but if you're picking Moicano, I think that you're banking on a tired Saint Denis at some point, because again, this is going to be 5 rounds. I think Benoit Saint Denis is just that good, man. I think that the Poirier fight, it was a learning experience. It was a huge step up in competition for him. And again, as much as I like Renato Moicano, I don't think the hype behind the guy meets the overall skill set of Moicano. If this was just jiu-jitsu, hell, maybe I'm picking Moicano. But this is a fight. This is an MMA fight in all aspects of mixed martial arts. I think Saint Denis is the better fighter. But I want to hear from you all down in the comments. Like this video. Like I said, let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification bell so you do not miss an upload. I appreciate you all. See you next time.